Anthony Fat Tony Salerno was one of the most notorious mobsters in the United States. He was born on August 15, 1911 in East Harlem, New York, and died on July 27, 1992 at the Federal Medical Center in Springfield, Missouri. Salerno was an American mobster who served as underboss and front boss of the Genovese crime family in New York City from 1981 until his conviction in 1986. In his youth, Salerno became involved in gambling, numbers, loan sharking, and protection rackets for the Luciano family, which later came to be known as the Genovese family. Salerno was a member of the 116th Street Crew, headed by Michael Trigger Mike Coppola. Salerno climbed the family ranks by controlling a possible $1 million a year numbers racket operation in Harlem and a major loan sharking operation. In 1948, Coppola fled to Florida to escape murder charges, and Salerno took over the crew. In 1959, Salerno was a secret financial backer of a heavyweight professional boxing title fight at New York's Yankee Stadium between Swedish boxer Ingemar Johansson and American boxer Floyd Patterson. No charges were filed against Salerno. Salerno divided his time between a home in Miami Beach, Florida, a 100-acre estate and horse farm in upstate Rhinebeck, New York, the Palma Boys Club in East Harlem, and his apartment in the upscale Gramercy Park section of Manhattan. By the 1960s, Salerno controlled the largest numbers racket operation in New York, grossing up to $50 million per year. Salerno kept his headquarters at the Palma Boys Social Club in East Harlem and continued to work in these areas. The FBI accused him of heading a bookie and loan shark network that grossed $1 million annually. Salerno hired Roy Cohn as his attorney. On April 20th, 1978, Salerno was sentenced to 6 months in federal prison for illegal gambling and tax evasion charges. In early 1981, after his release from prison, Salerno suffered a mild stroke and retreated to his Rhinebeck estate to recuperate. At the time of his stroke, Salerno was Genovese underboss. After Salerno's recovery from his stroke and the March 31, 1981 death of Genovese front boss Frank Thierry, Salerno succeeded him. Although law enforcement at the time thought that Salerno was the boss of the Genovese family, it was an open secret in New York mafia circles that Salerno was merely a frontman for the real boss, Vincent the Chin Gigante. For instance, Alphonse Little Al Diarco, who later became acting boss of the Lucchese crime family before turning informer, told investigators that when he became a Lucchese-made man in 1982, he was told that Gigante was the boss of the Genovese family. Ever since the death of boss Vito Genovese in 1969, the real family leader had been Philip Benny Squint Lombardo. Over the years, Lombardo used several front bosses to hide his real status from law enforcement. A practice continued when Gigante took over the family upon Lombardo's retirement in 1981. However, Salerno's reign came to an end in February 1985 when he and 8 other New York bosses on the Mafia Commission were indicted in the infamous Mafia Commission trial. Despite being nominally the lead defendant in the trial, many observers disputed Salerno's top ranking, claiming that law enforcement greatly exaggerated his importance to bring attention to their legal case against him. Despite his lawyers' efforts to secure his release on bail, Salerno was ultimately denied and held without bail due to his potential danger to the community. He and the other defendants pled not guilty on July 1, 1985. But on November 19, 1986, Salerno was convicted on RICO charges and sentenced to 100 years in prison without parole and fined $240,000. But Salerno's legal troubles didn't end there. While awaiting the Mafia Commission trial, he was indicted in his separate trial in March 1986 on a federal racketeering charge. This trial accused Salerno of having hidden controlling interest in several construction companies, including those responsible for building the Mount Sinai School of Medicine, Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and even the Trump Tower. Salerno was also accused of illegally aiding the election of Roy Lee Williams to the national presidency of the Teamsters Union. Salerno pled not guilty on all charges, but in October 1988, he was convicted and sentenced to 7 years in prison, including a $376,000 fine, and ordered to forfeit half of the racketeering proceeds, estimated to be $30 million. Interestingly, in 1986, shortly after Salerno's conviction in the commission trial, his longtime right-hand man, Vincent the Fish Caffaro, turned informant and told the FBI that Salerno had never been the real boss of the Genovese family. Instead, Caffaro revealed that Salerno was merely a front for Vincent the Chin Gigante, who had been the real leader of the family since 1969. Despite this revelation, Salerno's conviction and 100-year sentence were not in jeopardy. He had been tried and convicted for specific criminal acts, not for being the boss of the Genovese family. Sadly, after his conviction and imprisonment, Salerno's health deteriorated due to his diabetes and suspected prostate cancer. On July 27, 1992, Anthony Salerno died at the Medical Center for Federal Prisoners in Springfield, Missouri. So that's the story on Anthony Fat Tony Salerno, one of the most powerful and influential gangsters in American history. Although he may have just been a frontman for his true boss, Salerno's impact on the criminal underworld cannot be denied. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.